Remember Alex? Alex has a busy life filled with family, work, friends, church, and neighbors. In many ways, she's the glue holding many of her relationships together. There are a lot of blessings that come from that, but sometimes things can get a bit sticky.
Michelle! You scared the pictures! What the hell are you doing in my house? Girl, I lost my keys. Tasha wasn't home, so I just let myself in.
You let yourself in? There's 3 locks on the door.
Oh, yeah, those are no good. You really need to upgrade. I mean, having those locks is like leaving your door wide open.
No, it's not. That was a closed door with 3 locks on it. Why didn't you break into your own house?
That's what I'm saying. It's the locks. Mine are unpickable. You think I want to be standing out in the street looking like I'm breaking into somebody's house?
What's wrong with you? Do you remember the talk that we had about boundaries?
Before we go any further, if you're enjoying receiving pivotal and practical tips with humor as you're navigating marriage, boundaries, or emotions, do us a favor and hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Boundaries are not just rivers, mountains, or arbitrary borders on maps that separate countries, but they're also those magical lines we draw around ourselves to protect our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Alex knows that setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about saying, hey, I love you, but this is where I end and you begin. Boundaries make relationships way more enjoyable and save emotional energy and avoid misunderstandings. Now, let's talk about the N word, the word no. Sometimes it's the hardest word in the world to say, but Alex has learned that a well-placed no can save her from burnout while also protecting the relationships she values. A simple, polite, I can't take this on right now, can work wonders, turning down requests without hard feelings. Sure, there's the worry of disappointing people, but a respectful no can actually build trust and respect. Alex has also learned that there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to boundaries. Actually, not all boundaries are the same and used in the same situation. Regardless of what kind of boundary she uses, the sweet spot that she's always aiming for is a boundary style that honors her needs while respecting others. By embracing her own boundaries and respecting those of others, Alex is finding the peace, balance, and sanity she needs to serve her loved ones with joy and intention, not exhaustion and resentment. With a little practice and a sprinkling of courage, she's creating boundaries that allow her to be there for others while also taking care of herself. But what happens when we face the unexpected boundary bully? That's someone who repeatedly crosses or disregards our personal boundaries, often to satisfy their own needs or desires without respect for the limits we have set. These boundary challengers can be subtle or direct, and often these bullies may smile and cajole, but boundary bullies push, manipulate, or guilt trip to get what they want. And in their wake, they leave us feeling uncomfortable, taken advantage of, or disrespected.
You know what? I'm sorry. I believe I ate that.
You ate my sandwich?
It was a simple mistake. It could happen to anyone.
Oh, really? Did you confuse it with your own turkey sandwich with a moist maker?
No.
Do you perhaps remember seeing a note on top of it?
There may have been a joke or limerick of some kind.
That said, it was my sandwich.
Boundary bullies show up in lots of places in our lives. The workplace, friendships, family, romantically, and of course, there's social media bullies. What sets boundary bullies apart is that they operate under the assumption that their needs come first, or that they're entitled to ignore boundaries. Sort of, boundaries are good for others, but not for me mentality. Just like hidden picture games, it can be tricky to recognize the boundary bullies that may be hiding in our lives. Let's see if Alex can see who might be lurking in her life. Let's start with the Overstepper. This boundary bully is always inserting themselves, uninvited, crossing physical or emotional boundaries without a second thought. This might be the person who shows up unannounced at your desk at work to discuss personal matters while you're clearly busy, ignoring your need for focus and time to get things done. They're also that person in your personal life who invites themselves to events without being asked, assuming that you're always available and want their company.
Oh, hey, this is Ramon. Pretend we're talking.
We are talking.
Pretend it's interesting.
So, then I had to kill him, and, the police are still looking for me.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, Jerry.
Oh, hey, Ramon.
Hey, I took a lot of napkins. You want some?
Oh, no, thanks.
Hey, is this seat taken?
No. And then the worst part is, after the movie, he leeched on, and once we wound up having coffee with him for like 2 hours, then he walks us home, all the way back to the front of the building. Finally, I said, look, Ramon, I gotta go to bed now.
The next boundary bully is the Oversharer. This is the boundary bully who gives TMI on a constant loop, expecting everyone to be just as open and receptive to their unfiltered thoughts. Imagine yourself at a neighborhood meeting or a church group. The Oversharer is that person who provides lengthy, emotional updates about their personal life dramas, including details about arguments, financial struggles, or therapy sessions. They can turn a casual conversation into an awkward moment for everyone involved. By the way, the Oversharer does not need to be someone that you know particularly well. They ignore social cues about personal space that can lead to awkward silences.
Welcome to Turtle. Let's see. Yard gloves, tomato seeds, fertilizer. You know what fertilizer is, right?
Excuse me?
It's part dirt and part feces. It's my job to let you know what you're buying. I just thought... Someone left a bag of feces on my doorstep once. It was Halloween and they rang the bell, but when I got there, they were gone. But they left their feces bag. They must...
The Burden Buddy. This is the boundary bully who carries around emotional baggage and always expects others to carry it along with them. While you want to support them, you find yourself feeling emotionally drained after each conversation. A family member may frequently remind you of all the sacrifices they've made for you, using guilt to get you to listen to their troubles or help them with their needs, making you feel obligated to take on their emotional baggage. At the same time, the Burden Buddy is rarely available when you may need some emotional support. Let's talk about the passive pusher. This boundary bully uses subtle pressure or guilt to nudge people into saying yes, making it tough to impose boundaries without feeling rude. They can also be known as the "you should" friend. Their persistent suggestions can feel like pressure to do what they ask. In conversation, they might use the pronoun we, as in, we should definitely try to do this together. Unintentionally, parents are often passive pushers, maybe making career, school, or relationship suggestions that you may feel guilty for not following. The next boundary bully is the Disregarder. A good way to identify this hidden bully is by listening carefully for the following statements. I thought everyone already knew. Come on, just this once. Don't take things so seriously. Or, I didn't mean anything by it. The Disregarder shows a lack of awareness or consideration for the boundaries and needs of others. They will often ignore any and all boundaries, assuming they don't apply to them, and do not like to take no for an answer. The social media meddler. This is a digital boundary bully, someone who snoops through online activity, making you feel uncomfortable with their level of surveillance and input. They may be friends, romantic partners, or even family members. They will critique what you post and then use it as fuel for later conversation. Finally, the neediness boundary bully. The whole notion of the word bully conjures up ideas and images of aggression or dominance. But in very subtle ways, someone can exhibit boundary bullying while appearing weak, vulnerable, or overly friendly. This bully constantly needs attention, and they often use guilt or obligation to make you feel responsible for their happiness. Often trying to avoid financial or personal responsibility, they will create situations so that others will feel responsible for them. More than likely, Alex can rattle off a list of names who fit one or more of these categories faster than you could say boundary bullies. But here's the million-dollar question. What can she actually do about them? Dealing with boundary bullies is not quite the same as setting regular boundaries. With most people, you set a boundary and ta-da, there's mutual respect and understanding. Not so with boundary bullies. These people see your boundary as a speed bump on the way to wherever they're headed. They'll push, poke, and prod, often testing how firmly that line is drawn, which means you and Alex have to be ready to hold the line. So, how do you go from being worn out by the relentlessness of a boundary bully to pivoting like a seasoned pro? Here are some tried and true strategies for when just no doesn't cut it. If Alex finds herself feeling drained or resentful after encounters with certain people, it might be time to evaluate the relationship. If it's someone she can't avoid, she may want to restrict how often they pop up in her life. This is where it gets real. A gentle but firm, "I feel pressured when this comes up. I'd rather talk about something else," can go a long way. Calling out boundary bullies is like tending a garden. Sometimes you've got to weed out the pesky behaviors so that good things can grow. Believe it or not, even boundary bullies can have redeeming moments. If someone who usually bulldozes your boundaries actually respects one, it's worth a little praise. A quick "thanks for understanding" can reinforce the good behavior, like training a puppy, but for people. If you or Alex want a boundary-respecting culture, you have got to live it yourself. Leading by example shows others how it's done and builds an environment of mutual respect. Finally, no boundary-setting warrior can stand alone. Surround yourself with supportive family and friends who respect limits and can provide encouragement and sanity checks when you may be dealing with more challenging people. In the end, boundary bullies aren't just tough on our patience, they can wear down our energy too. But with a few solid pivoting strategies, Alex can keep her limits strong and surround herself with people who bring out her best. After all, the goal is to build relationships that lift us up, not weigh us down.